Om Mahaganapataye Namaha. In this video, I'm going to talk about wielding your mind and practical tips that you really should be aware of if you are intending on creating something new and creating something outside of your current paradigm. The main message, or the main reason I wanted to create this video, was to convey the importance of managing your thoughts. Managing your thoughts means the self-talk, the inner chatter that you have going on in your mind constantly. Being aware of what you're saying, being aware of how you're reacting to things, being aware of your words and what you're speaking. We take a lot of things for granted, and then we don't have an awareness in a lot of cases of what we're saying and what we're thinking, even when we're joking around, even when we don't mean it, but the idea here is the concept, or you could say the truth. Your thoughts and your words are creative in nature. So whether you're intending them, whether you mean it or not, your thoughts and your words are creating your reality. And the context of most people, they are supporting a reality or a certain paradigm that you have concretized based on the way you've been conditioned internally and externally. You have created a reality that is being supported by your thoughts and your words. So it's very important to not allow yourself to slip. See, the inner warrior, or the spiritual warrior, what they talk about, that you can go and read about if you're not familiar with, is not about fighting people on the outside. It is about conquering your mind. In general, it's about conquering your mind, conquering yourself, but that is conquering your mind. You have to be so careful and intense about not allowing negative thoughts into your mind as much as possible. It can be challenging at first, and you may slip once in a while, but never ever let yourself go. Always be aware of what you're saying and doing. For example, if you're even joking around with somebody and they're talking about manifesting, let's just say manifesting a car, and you say, I'll never be able to get that, even when you're joking around, I'll never be able to get that. You are creating that reality. Your words are creative. In the beginning, the word was with God, and God used the word to create the world. In the yogic sciences, they have this same concept of vak, or the concept of speaking to create. Be careful with your words and your thoughts. That's the main message that I wanted to convey to you. And one thing you can do that I recommend you do is start identifying the patterns you're noticing. So maybe you're wanting to have something, and then you finding out that there's certain things that your mind will agree with, and certain things your mind will say, you'll never get that. How's that going to happen? You don't have the money. Become aware of these prison guards, because these are the guys that you have to metaphorically kill. So one thing that is helpful, one analogy that Dr. Ply shares all the time that comes from Zen Buddhism. Thoughts are your guests. They check in and they check out. The meaning of this is the thoughts are not you. And he talks about this as you don't put your ego or your identity behind the thoughts. In other words, whenever you have a thought, you don't automatically agree with a thought. You don't consider it or orient yourself that this is real, this is your thought, this is how you are, this is how I feel, I'm upset, I'm frustrated, I'm this, I'm that. You're putting your ego behind the thought. So what you should be doing, or a better way to manage your mind, is either by holding on to silence or by holding on to a mantra. Or it could be an affirmation. If you can identify with that, what you'll notice is thoughts will start to bounce off of you. They will come up, which is okay. It's fine. But they'll also leave as fast as they came, and they won't make you feel frustrated. They won't make you feel upset. They won't make you feel limited. So another way of looking at this is your thoughts are your karma. Dr. Ply defines karma, which is the cause of, or the law of cause and effect, precisely as your thoughts. So in order to overcome your karma, which is, the rule is, you're only going to be able to create what is aligned with your karma. If you don't have the karma for something, you won't be able to create it. What that means is, if you don't have the concepts for something that's outside of your current reality, you won't be able to create it, because creation is a mechanical process, as Dr. White talks about. It's not this intangible, miraculous thing, limited. Everybody's engaged in creation. Everybody is engaged in creation. Whether you realize it or not is irrelevant. You, as I've said in the past, you are part of the game, whether you choose to be part of the game or you're not choosing to engage in it. You're still part of the game. You're still creating. You're still supporting it. And what happens for most people is, without these sort of concepts, they will go on and live out their life, which is essentially predestined because of the way that they have been conditioned. It orients them to a certain destination. So if they've been conditioned to think, these are my limits, the brain says, no, you can't have the Mercedes, you can't have the mansion, you can't be enlightened, that's impossible, it's only for yogis, whatever it is, that's your karma that confines you or limits you to a destiny or destination that you're going to arrive at, which is going to be exactly what you're doing now, for the most part. So, to wrap this up and in summary, manage your mind by first being aware of the concept that, yes, let me pay attention to my thoughts. Let me not get pulled into the thoughts. It's okay if the thoughts come, but don't put your identity behind them. Hold on to something else. Hold on to something positive that you want to create. I recommend using a mantra. There's different mantras, but one mantra that you can't go wrong with, which is a fantastic mantra, which will give you both the best of both worlds, is Shreem Brzee. Shreem Brzee will give you the inner fulfillment, which will manifest around you as the outer fulfillment. As Dr. Ply says, it will give you a 200% life. 100% spiritual wealth, 100% material wealth. Spiritual wealth, joy, wisdom, love, compassion, contentment, happiness, the material stuff, all the money, all the wealth of the relationships, the wealth of health, the wealth of money, all the wealth that you can want, confidence, optimism, all this is in the domain of wealth and Shreem Brzee. Shreem Brzee, as Dr. Ply has also been talking about, is particularly the Brzee aspect of the mantra, is also functions as a karma removal mantra. So not only will it help you create wealth, it also helps you to remove scarcity or poverty or these limiting thoughts. And an even more precise level, what's happening is, it's reshaping your brain. If you understand modern neuroscience, which is saying that even adults' brains are in a constant state of flux, the brain is molding and shaping itself based on the information that it's taking in. So I gave the example of the London cab drivers who had to spend 4 years memorizing some 20,000 different roads and all their combinations, all these landmarks. What happens is they found these guys' brains are adapting by enlarging their hippocampus. Hippocampus is a part of their brain associated with memory. Similarly, Albert Einstein had an abnormally large parietal lobe. He also had growth around his cerebrum because he played a violin. So the brain is constantly molding. And what happens is, when you're a child, you have an unlimited brain that is conditioned and what they call is pruned. So you have all these neural pathways, which represents your thoughts. Every time you think a thought and speak words, take actions, you are creating new neural pathways. The reason why it doesn't stick as well as it does in a child as it does for an adult is because over time we have concretized or reinforced certain neural pathways which have become our identity. A child is much more malleable. But even as an adult, you can still accomplish a change. You just have to spend the time to prune those old neural pathways, which are very reinforced, and create new pathways, not just create them, but also reinforce them as well. So it may take some time, in other words, to start noticing some results. It may not, but in general, you have to put in the consistency element especially as an adult, when you're trying to change the way you think, which is how your brain is working. So, the only difference between you and someone like Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, Richard Branson, Michael Jordan, people have all these different things, outrageous success, self-made people who don't require anything from the outside. They just have this natural intelligence. It's how their brain is working on the most practical level. They are hardwired, in other words, to think a certain way. And because of that hardwiring, they are creating a reality in a more effortless way. So Bill Gates didn't have to, although he had it was all natural to Bill Gates. He was in his garage, got the right ideas, everything worked out because he was hardwired, because he had a particular karma to experience that wealth. And if you don't have a karma for a certain thing, you have to go and create it. And that means you have to go, as they say, paddle upstream. So if you just sit on the raft and you allow it to carry you downstream, it's just going to push you downstream because that's the direction you're heading. And that's the most natural thing for you. If you want to do something else, you're going to have to paddle upstream for a little while until you can get out in the raft and jump into a new river, or however way you want to word it or think about it. But in general, that gives you an idea of what it is. You have to go against the grain. You got to jump out of the warm metaphorical bath, towel off, and get your butt in gear and do something else. That's the bottom line. So I hope this video helps inspire you and gives you concepts that will help you create profound changes in your life. Because when it comes down to it, it's the small things that create the big changes. Remember that. The little things create the big changes. If you're waiting for you to win the lottery or the big things, it's not that this can't happen, and you should orient yourself to manifest the outrageous things. Dream big. But to get there, you can help yourself so much more by focusing on the little things that create the foundation, that which you can grow and blossom. So work on these little things, and the most minutest of all these things, if you want to boil it all down, is how you are wielding your mind, including how you're thinking and how you are speaking. That includes mostly the self-talk, the self-chatter. So if you want to leave a comment or have any questions or feedback, I would love to hear from you. And I encourage you, if you feel called to, leave a comment below this video. And if you'd like to be notified for future videos, click subscribe and the bell notification button. God bless.